on this same station. Even in the schools, it's your old Puggy leading Sherman Bernard. You heard Bob Mahaffey. That's not old Puggy saying that. But the reason I'm leading, ladies and gentlemen, because you have made it possible. I want everybody who didn't get the insurance raised to vote for Sherman Bernard. And let those people that had the Vaseline vote for old Puggy. And I'll be tickled pink. And I will win in the first primary if that happens. Because you and I both know that your insurance has been raised, and he, Sherman, a punch-drunk snow-jobber Bernard, had to admit this yesterday in Lafayette. These are facts. And we learned something else, too, in Lafayette. Did you know that Sherman Bernard spent and collected $26,463,192.90, an increase of $1,731,815.72, and this is not something that Puggy made up. This is signed by him, and we got it official. I want to place Sherman A. Snowjobber Bernard on due notice that as soon as I am elected, I will go in to those reports and see just what he did with that money. And you've heard of Watergate. Well, there'll be a Bernard Gate, and I'm going to open it wide. He can better believe that, because I'll tell you, I'm going to use a stronger gadget than the gadget he used to move those houses. Yes, the private eye will go into the official report from one end to the other to determine just exactly what has been going on. I'm also happy to be able to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that at the commencement of this campaign, when I came into East Baton Rouge Parish, I visited the sheriff, and at that time I told you, I said, the man's not for me, but I think he's honest. And I think he's running a good office. Well, as this campaign is closing, I'm happy to report to you, if you saw in the paper today. Now, you know, it's one thing to put a political ad in the paper. But if you will look at the Baton Rouge evening paper, you will see in the form of an affidavit signed by Al Amos, the sheriff, duly notarized. And what is of extreme importance, that you look below that, where the man acknowledges that under the penalty of perjury and false swearing, he swears that everything in that affidavit is true, and that he has never issued anything false in campaign advertising on any broadcast, nor has he made any false claims, and he shows a surplus of $136,000 in surplus. Now, my dear friends, and this man's not for me, but I'll tell you, when I tell you somebody's honest, he's honest. But when I tell you that Sherman A. Snowjobber Bernard has got to think you punch drunk, or we're punch drunk, or either he's punch drunk, when he try to make us believe by political advertising, standing in a boxing ring, saying that he kept your rates of insurance premiums down, that he's a fighter for the consumer, when you in your heart know that Sherman A. Snowjobber Bernard is deliberately telling you a falsehood, is deliberately telling you a lie. And yet Sherman A. Snowjobber Punch Drunk Bernard expects you to go to the polls come this Saturday and tell him, thank you for putting the Vaseline to us. We want you to do it to us for another 4 years. Or you got that fellow Winston Riddick, and you people in the Lafayette area know old Puggy's telling you the truth, tried to steal the presidency of USL. And don't take my word for it. Ask any legitimate legislator if you want to tell you the truth. You can't depend on a fella like this fella Bob Chrysler. If that fella had to tell the truth, in my opinion, he'd have to stand on his head and whistle. But I'll tell you what, Bob Chrysler knows if you're paying 3 times the electricity bills and the utility bills, it's because he voted to increase that gas tax. That's what Bob Chrysler did. Yet he wants to tell you he's against increased taxes. That is the kind of individuals that support Winston Riddick, and they know Winston Riddick has done nothing but make a living off of the Louisiana taxpayers. Now, if you turn over the office of Commissioner Insurance to that man, you just think Sherman Bernard slipped it to you. Remember, the difference between Sherman Bernard, oh, Sherman, I don't imagine he'll ever knock down the halls of Congress from the shoulders up. But you take this fellow Winston Riddick, and you couple him with that little crew-cut boy Gillis Long, and those big giant insurance companies, I promise you, he's going to make you know what you better be careful of next time. That is why I respectfully submit to you, do not be misled by all these ads and all these spots on television like I told you would come. Yes, and all these endorsements, so-called, coming through the mail, like poor Vic Skiro. Don't hold that against Vic. Vic kind of in his second childhood, in my opinion. And he's just doing what those insurance companies tell him to do. But thank goodness that the records show, that the polls show old Puggy leading this race for Commissioner of Insurance. And with your help, when the returns are in Saturday night, Warren J. Puggy Moity, number 27 on your voting machines, should be the leading vote getter in the race for Commissioner of Insurance. You know, I respectfully submit to you that I am capable, by training, education, and experience, to be your Commissioner of Insurance. Now, if you read the Morning Advocate, you'd never believe that. Because they have used every effort to try to deceive you, the voters and taxpayers of the state of Louisiana, because they want hand-picked candidates, in my judgment, controlling the office of Commissioner of Insurance. They know that Puggy Moity knows the power of the Commissioner of Insurance office. And it is very clear in Title 22 of the Louisiana Revised Statute, the power that that office has. Because it is the Commissioner of Insurance who must approve those policy forms. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to be the jurors Saturday. You will determine whether or not you want to render a verdict for Warren J. Puggy Moity, or whether you want to render a verdict for snow jobber Sherman Bernard, or whether you want to render a verdict for 79-year-old Vic Skiro, or whether you want to render a verdict for deadhead Winston Riddick, never had no other job but for the state of Louisiana or some special agency. These are decisions you will have to make this Saturday. As I told you, I'm a farmer. I have the experience. I've been in the cattle business for over 15 years. I own several farms. I'm a real estate broker. I've been in the insurance business and came up from a debit collector all the way to owning my own insurance agency. And when it got to where I had to lie to you people, to where there was no guarantee of coverage, and they wanted to gyp you on your claims, I got out the business rather than do this. I had the courage to come before you and week in and week out and tell it to you just like it was. I appeared in person in many areas in this state in front of every opponent that I had. I told it to you just like it was, and not one time could any of them, including Sherman A. Punch-Drunk Snow-Jobbing Bernard, that man never was able to prove to you or even tried that Warren J. Puggy Moity was not telling you the truth, because he knew each time I went and everywhere I went with the facts. Winston Riddick never tried to deny that he and Patricia Riddick were both on the payroll, collecting money, even when they went to school. I have laid it on the line. I even told you the truth when I told you that Vic Skiro was over the hill and represented 30 insurance companies, which he admitted he represents. The other candidates are fine people, but they're not even in this race seriously. And you and I both know that. And even they are trailing Sherman A. Snowjobber Bernard to where if there's a second primary, it will be Sherman trailing old Puggy. But I need your help to keep them from buying this election come Saturday. Remember, I have done my job. I think I did my job well. I presented the facts to you. I have worked hard under very unusual circumstances because I did not have the money to spend on high-priced advertising. I did not have the money on to spend on big newspaper ads. I didn't have the money to pay for those $270 television spots. I had to come before you sometimes as late as 10:30 at night and plead with you and thank God that you were kind enough to me, that you stayed up this late at night and listened to my message. And the polls show that you were not only just halfway listening, it showed that you were really listening. And for this, I am extremely grateful. Now, my dear friends, I have on each instance given Snowjobber Sherman Bernard and all the other candidates an opportunity to present their program with me and to show where I was wrong. I wanted Snowjobber to show that the farmers of this state did not have their homeowners insurance canceled or the premium raised beyond reach. I wanted Snow Jobber to show our young people that they were not paying 4 and 5 times the insurance premium, or approximately $500 or $600 a year, merely because they were young. And in a number of cases, some of them never had an accident. This is unfair, and 24 hours after I am your commissioner, I will put a stop to this. And you know I'll do what I say I'm going to do. And you people living in mobile homes who are faced with Sherman Bernard allowing 8 insurance companies to go broke that got your cash money that you paid for insurance to learn that you don't even have insurance, much less be in a position to collect a claim if something happens. And one of the specific duties under the law that Sherman A. Snow Jobber Bernard has is to ensure the security of those insurance companies, to see that they got the money on deposit or securities that can protect the policyholders. This man admitted publicly he didn't know what he was doing. That is why, my dear friends, you have a choice. You have a choice today whether or not you want to allow Sherman A. Bernard to continue to bleed the doctors of this state on medical malpractice insurance, which will be passed on to you, the patient. And it's being done now. You and I both know that. The doctors admit this. That's all they can do. That's what is increasing the high hospital costs. You can end this by calling your friends and neighbors and asking them to go to the polls Saturday and cast a vote for Warren J. Puggy Moity, number 27 on your voting machine, as your candidate for Commissioner of Insurance. I will see that stability, reliability, and reasonable rates result. I will never approve a policy form that will allow them to cancel your insurance at will. A man commits the worst type of crime, and he doesn't get sent to the electric chair or to the penitentiary without a trial. You taxpayers